Well, thanks, Daniel, and thanks to everybody on our previous panel. We're not moving away from AI or from this subject at all. We're going to pick up on many of the points that were made in this session. And this session is really about how we can make AI work for us, how we can leverage new technology, and AI in particular, for the benefit of society. And I think it's important to have this discussion because we know from history that whenever we have a period of rapid technological change, not only does it generate excitement, and we've heard a lot of excitement, but it also generates fears among societies. So it's important to have a public discussion about the potential benefits of AI and other new technologies. So that's what we're focusing now in this panel. So I'd like to invite to join me on the stage the Deputy Minister of Digital Governance of Greece, Konstantinos Kyranakis. Welcome. Anny Chatzikonstantinou, Managing Partner of Greece and Cyprus, Boyden, consultancy company. Kostas Axarloglou, Dean and Professor of International Business and Strategy at Alba Graduate Business School, the American College of Greece. Welcome. And Joan Hoey, Non-Executive Director of ECOMMBX. Thanks, all of you. It's great to have you on the panel. We're going to follow the format of previous panels. All of you can make some opening remarks, and then I'm going to pick up on some of the points that you're making, and we can have a conversation. So over to you.
I think it would be better to dive into the conversation if it's okay with you, because
Sure.
We're running, I think, quite late, and it's more interesting for the audience.
Okay, that's good from my point of view, and I'm sure from the audience point of view as well. So I guess, one thing, we've heard a lot of points made already in the previous panel. I guess, one thing that I would say that it's important for all of us, consumers, businesses, academics, wherever we work, to understand why they would want to use AI, how they want to adopt new technologies, because that's the only way that we're going to ensure that we make the right investment, the right innovation, and move in the right direction. So I guess, there's a use case here. And so I guess from the point of view of the government of Greece, how do you see this, particularly for the future of public administration, for example, in Greece, and digital governance?
Thank you. First of all, I think every single government, at least in the European Union and in the Western world, is exploring new ways of using AI applications to be more productive, more transparent, and to be able to measure their work in ways that were not possible before. We try in Greece to be the first country. I'm sure the minister has announced it just before. We try to be the first member state in the European Union to present an AI assistant, an LLM based on natural language, to assist every citizen and every business 24/7, 365 days per year, to answer questions about all the digital services and all the processes and all the legal rights and responsibilities that a citizen or a business have, in a way that has not been tested yet. What's different in this case is that we cannot make mistakes, because a mistake can create legal claims, and when a government is making mistakes in their communication with a citizen or a business, then it's a legal framework that hasn't been explored yet. So we have to be very careful and build solid steps in order to build trust with citizens that will use this technology. Now, this is one of the first and, in my opinion, most important steps in this effort to adopt AI technologies in our government work. But I think also our Prime Minister has been very clear and very extrovert about using AI across the board in government services. And we're sending a message that we're open for new ideas and AI investment here in Greece. So at every government level, whether it is the land registry that was mentioned before, digitization of files, or the use of health data, or the ability for the fire service to detect, to have an automatic system for smoke detection, something that was tested just this morning in the mountain of Pedeli. The minister has spoken about this before. All these kind of use cases are a message to the international community, the international tech community, that Greece is open for investment, and Greece is open to test new AI tools that can be useful at every government level. In the end, having in our minds that we have to be more effective and more transparent. These are my initial comments.
Okay, well, just one follow-up on that. Especially in terms of the state administration and adoption of these new technologies, do you think you have the capacity to actually do this? Because, I mean, this is the big question, to minimize the pain of disruption, especially for existing workers. That does require new training, new skills. Is that moving fast enough, in your opinion? I mean, we're going to come and talk a bit more about education and skills, but that's obviously also a responsibility of government to ensure that happens.
I think that the training required for a public employee to use AI tools, we don't need to have this in mind as someone who will write code, someone who will type in all the technological requirements that someone who is a pioneer in AI needs. What we really need to teach them is how to use the front-end AI applications that will make their life easier and their work more productive. And this is not an impossible task. If we want to be honest, on this previous project that the Nova CEO mentioned, on the digitization of files in the land registries, this is a huge project for Greece. It has to do with more than 1 billion pages. And more than 1 billion pages builds a big set of data that should be exploitable by OCR and AI technologies. So what we need to do in this use case, we need to create an application that will be able to read files and connect certain data between them, something that would take much more time for an employee to do with traditional tools or their eyes and hands. This is now possible to do through a simple AI application. It's not something that will make someone's life harder. It will make their work easier, it will make their work faster, and it will make the result of such a project much more fast and productive.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's move on along the panel. Annie, you work in the field of consultancy, so this is something that's probably become, your kind of bread and butter now. Now, when ChatGPT hype was at its height, Goldman Sachs made waves because made the headlines predicting that generative AI would increase global GDP by 7%. I'm not sure over what time period that it was talking about, but that 300 million jobs would be lost or degraded in the process. So, that was a pretty scaremongering kind of report that was delivered by Goldman Sachs, where probably AI is more likely to augment rather than replace human capabilities. Have you encountered in your work kind of fears about the adoption of AI among the companies that you're working with? Actually, despite all the hype as well, adoption of new technologies is usually slower than expected. And we can see that in the Eurostat figures, actually, the latest ones for the number of companies or percentage of companies in Europe that are using AI. I mean, the latest data is a few years. I'm sure it's changed, but it was 8% of companies using AI in 2021. 2 years have elapsed, and I'm sure that's grown. But nevertheless, that gives you an indication of that it's not happening at lightning speed.
This is true, Joan. Ladies and gentlemen, κυρίες και κύριοι, καλησπέρα. Good afternoon. I'm here to represent the human resources industry and the study that humans have to do and how to address the AI issue. AI is here. Our own company worldwide is adopting methods to do the searches more effectively and more rapidly. But I would like to address a different perspective, technology transition, and what are the right skills, the right human skills in the coming years. So we are in an era of unparalleled technological advancement, and we are living it. The Bain & Co. report this year, find compelling evidence of a rapid evolution of technology. And the World Economic Forum, the OECD, has found out that technology is running faster than human skills can adapt. So the previous panel did comment that the companies should reskill and upskill people how to address AI, and the government is doing efforts to help people adapt to the AI. But we found out that the human factor is prevailing, and there are 4 distinct skills that humans should adopt and advance to address this. And we humans, we should come up front of technology. It's adaptability, critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence that should prevail above that. These are the factors that we as professionals are seeking in humans and are identifying to find the most effective and more productive professionals. Adaptability is crucial because we must continually learn and relearn in a fast-evolving landscape. Critical thinking is imperative for making informed decisions in an age of that information is flooded. Creativity drives innovation and is the spark that ignites process. And emotional intelligence is essential because we connect, we collaborate, and we lead effectively with other humans to make things happen. So it's us prevailing in technology and machines rather than machines prevailing us. There's no threat about it. We must be proactive, however. Organizations need to invest in those skills in humans and train them to be in advance. For individuals, we should stay relevant and embrace change and innovation, as well as adopting a growth mindset. The ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn will be a cornerstone of success. In closing, the great transition we found ourselves, it's not a technological shift, it's a human one. Our ability to adapt, think critically, create, and empathize is definitely our success in an evolving landscape. As we move forward, let's remember that technology is a tool, and us humans are the craftsmen.
Thank you very much. Professor, I'm sure you want to continue on this theme of education, skills, training, and maybe you can give us more insights about what's happening here in Greece on that front.
Joan, thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. Thanks for the invitation. I'll start with the view of the world. Each one of us has its own view of the world. I feel that we live in an ambiguous time, but please don't panic, creative ambiguity. In this type of ambiguous times, sometimes the questions are more important than the answers. The right questions might lead to answers which are frequently wrong because of the ambiguity. That's how I see artificial intelligence. Machines automate doing things. We use our smartphone to take pictures, to do things. Artificial intelligence automates thinking. We use ChatGPT, we prompt a question, they manage data, huge data, and they come up with an answer. They think. Machines come up with new results. Artificial intelligence comes up with new results and new ways to come up with new results. In this ambiguous environment, we do know some things, and we don't know most of them. What do we know? We know, for instance, that in 2021, companies invested about 25 billion dollars on artificial intelligence, and this year, they invest about 65 billion around the globe. We also know, studies show, that a Gen AI machine can manage in 1 hour data that a human being can manage in 10 lifetimes. Huge productivity gains out of it. We do also know that these productivity gains will release significant value to the society. What's going to happen in 2030? Nobody knows. At least I will not dare to know about it, to say anything about it. Now, because of the creative nature of this ambiguity, everybody is afraid of being left out from this creative development. Companies, individuals, institutions, the government. This fear of being left out creates a hype. Everybody now talks about ChatGPT. ChatGPT might be obsolete in about 3-4 months, who knows? This hype leads to the Amara's law on technology. Roy Amara, a futurist, an American futurist, said some years ago, in technology, we tend to underestimate the effects of the technology today, but, opposite. We tend to overestimate the effects of technology today and underestimate the effects of technology tomorrow in the long run. That's dangerous because we misallocate resources and we make wrong investments if this is the way to go. So, how can we defy, and I come to the education, how do we defy this particular law? Rigorous skepticism. What it means, is my term, that we all need to be skeptics and skeptical about these new technologies and ask the right question, which in my mind, the right question is, what does this technology do? What is going to be the impact of artificial intelligence in 2030? Nobody knows, at least not me. I don't have the answer. So the correct question for all of us is, what does a particular technology do? The previous panel, and I urge all of us to watch again the previous panel, each one of the panelists was asking this question. We've heard Michalis Iakovidis talking about the way London Business School introduces ChatGPT in their operation, what exactly they do, what value they create, not what is going to happen after 20 years. That's one part. And the second part, in the short run and in the long run, organizations need to develop adaptability and agility to be ready to adapt the new technology, the artificial intelligence technology, that will be evolving in the future and which we don't know yet how it's going to look like. On an individual basis, learnability is the name of the game. I'm not talking about learning new skills, but I'm talking about an attitude for continuous learning. Now, in this attitude for continuous learning, in managing this creative ambiguity, academic institutions are not enough. Instead, what we also do in my school is to promote learning ecosystems that are composed by companies, academic institutions, other organizations, so that we help us and the community to be continuous learners. This is the way, in my mind, to manage the long-term effects of artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you. John, from a company perspective, which may be different from a consumer one, the focus is obviously on growth opportunities, how to enhance profit and so on. So how do you go about identifying profitable use cases for AI? Can you give some examples of adoption, positive or negative in your company?
Thank you, John and Nectaria, for the kind invitation, and thank you for your trust, both of you, in technology and innovation, which is, I believe, the most important issue of our days. I will give you a couple of examples with regards to the company that the sector of our company, which is in financial technology. I represent an electronic money institution coming from Cyprus, and I will give you also 2-3 examples of the social benefits that artificial intelligence provides. So, as we all know, financial services have undergone a significant transformation over the years, and technology has played a huge role in this transformation. So let's see how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing financial services and what it means for the industry. Now, what is AI? AI refers to the ability of machines to perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence, such as learning problem solving, decision making, and natural language processing. In the financial services industry, it has the potential to transform many areas, including customer service experience, risk management, and fraud detection. A great benefit in the financial services is that it can help institutions gain insights into their customers' behavior and preferences. Algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data from various sources, including social media, transaction history, and other behavioral patterns, to create a more comprehensive and accurate picture of the customer. This information can then be used to personalize services, create more targeted marketing campaigns, and improve the customer experience overall. Moreover, artificial intelligence can play a crucial role in managing risks. Financial institutions face numerous risks, including credit risk, market risk, operational risk, and, of course, reputational risk. AI-powered risk management tools can analyze and identify risks more efficiently than humans, and it can also help monitor and manage risk in real time. Another important application is fraud detection. Fraud is a major problem in the financial services industry. Traditional methods of detecting fraud can be time-consuming and labor-intensive. Algorithms can detect patterns and anomalies that are often being missed by human beings. This can help to reduce fraud losses and prevent fraudulent activities, again, in real time. Now, except that, there are also social benefits, and I can name 3 of them. First, we have improved financial inclusion through AI. where driven credit scoring models can extend financial services to previously underserved populations by assessing creditworthiness based on alternative data sources, such as mobile usage or utility payments. So someone does not actually need to be a customer of a bank. Second is financial education. AI can provide personalized financial education content and recommendation to help individuals become more financially literate and make better financial decisions overall. Third, and of course not least, and it's a major subject again in our days, sustainability and ESG investing, where AI can help investors identify sustainable and environmentally responsible investment opportunities, aligning financial services with social and environmental goals. In conclusion, the impact of artificial intelligence in financial services is significant. It has the potential to revolutionize how financial institutions operate, from improving the customer experience to managing risks, detecting fraud, and of course, for social reasons. However, it is important to approach the implementation of AI in financial services with caution and ensure that it's done in a responsible and ethical manner. With the right approach, it has the potential to bring significant benefits to the financial services industry and help institutions to navigate challenges and opportunities in the digital age. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've got a bit of time before we move to the next session, so I'd like to take the opportunity for anybody from the floor to ask a question before I start to do so. Anybody got a question for anybody on the panel? No, I can't see any hands at the moment, but please, if you do think of one, wave your hands at me. But coming back to you, I would say that in response to this question, how to make AI work for us rather than us ending up working for AI, that's primarily a political question. And I guess, there's always a danger when in a period of rapid technological change and adoption of new technologies, that this can run out of the control of governments, because the cutting edge is very dynamic companies introducing changes. So what do you see as the role and responsibilities of government in this regard to make sure that we make sure that over the next 5-10 years, that AI and other technology, we're talking about AI, but we could talk about many other aspects of the technological revolution, use of cloud services and so on, that's already transforming some industries, in particular health, entertainment. We've seen big changes already. How should government ensure that change is introduced in a way that serves the interests of the public primarily?
Yes, that's a very important question. In my opinion, our number one priority as a government is to educate two very specific groups of people. The first is the legislators, us in Parliament. We need to be in a place to understand what are the challenges of AI for the future, because we have to vote on a framework that will make sense, on a framework that will allow, on one hand, to have a pro-investment, investment-friendly policy in order for innovation and businesses to thrive, and on the other hand, to protect our citizens. So if the 300 members of Parliament and the ministers in our government don't understand what it takes to involve AI in our government work, then we're doomed. So the number one priority is to educate the legislators in order to have informed decisions on what is coming. The second group, in my opinion, and in my previous capacity as a member of Parliament, in the previous mandate, I made a proposal to the Minister of Education on including AI as a course in schools. Because in 10 years, you're asking what will happen in 10 years. So in 10 years, what will happen for sure is that the children that are now, let's say, 12 years old, they enter into the gymnasium, this is how we call it in Greece. They will probably graduate from a university. They will be in a place to go for their first interview, for their first job. And for sure, the same as it happened for our generation, if we didn't know how to use Word and Excel, we couldn't get a job. For them, what we know for sure is if they don't know how to use a front-end AI application, they will not get a job. So we have to build human capital in Greece. We don't have the billions that other countries have to invest heavily in AI, but what we can invest in human capital. So children in Greek schools need to be taught early on, today, I think we are already late, what it means to work with AI applications, and teachers as well need to play this game. We're all very afraid about what will happen, with students that have to do their exercise and write their essay and so on, if it will be AI generated and so on. No, this is not what we should be afraid of. We should teach children to use AI applications in order to be smarter and to answer these questions you just asked. How will I make AI to work in my benefit instead of the opposite thing? So these are the two first priorities, in my opinion, for every government, not just the Greek one. We have to imagine, we're here at the Economist convention. We have to imagine, Economist is a wonderful addition that today can be wholly generated by AI. You have a very talented illustrator at The Economist, a Polish guy, I'm a big fan of his, who's doing really fantastic things for your covers. These illustrations can be today generated by AI for free. And with a very small, for a very small amount of money, you can create even better and faster illustrations like this. All your texts can be generated by AI. All your data and your tables can be generated by AI, and I'm pretty sure that some of the texts that we read at The Economist, and we do read them, they're made by AI tools, and that's okay. But what you need to know is that the consumer, the reader, will also have the power to understand if this is AI generated and if this is really some information of additional value for them. If it's really a human speaking to a human, if it's really an editor who has put the effort, the human effort, to do something better than the machine can do today. So if you at The Economist can give this answer, then governments can do the same and businesses can do the same. Thank you.
Thanks. Of course, we've been experimenting with all this, and I'm sure Daniel will have things to say about this, but maybe not to be pursued here. But thanks for that answer. I think we're still waiting for the Minister for our next session, and I really strongly urge everybody to stay in their seats for the final session after this, where we have these young Greeks, the people we're talking about, who are going to make the future here, innovators, very talented group of people going to be on the platform with the Minister, so please make sure you stay. But I believe we've got a few more minutes to conclude. So, we have to religiously stick to this theme of, making AI work for us. And, there's many positives. I don't want to, introduce doom and gloom or anything, but there's no doubt about it that the advance of these new technologies is going to create new inequalities. The most obvious one will be between, say, for example, Europe and Africa. And I know, that we may think about developing countries leapfrogging on the base of new technology, but if you don't have 5G, it's very difficult to do that. So it's going to create new inequalities between countries, between regions, and also within society as well. And we don't really know what is going to happen, whether this technological change we're going to see, will be the basis, for example, for new kinds of labor movements, and so on. And these are things that we really need to be thinking about. But probably the most important thing we need to do is systematically have this public discussion about the benefits of, potential benefits, at least, of these new technologies.
We know what will happen. Someone will fill the gap. And for the moment in Africa and some other regions, China is filling the gap.
Yes.
And we have to be very honest and transparent about this, because China, both on basic infrastructure and technological infrastructure, because we want to use AI applications, what you need connectivity, fast connectivity, and you also need computational power. So as you said, the leapfrogging approach for this kind of countries, for this kind of regions, is easier compared to countries that are in some kind of technological progress, and they want to feel absolutely sure about the next steps in order to build trust and all the things we discuss about in Europe in this kind of conventions. But in Africa and in South Asia and in Latin America, we know what will happen. It's already happening. Someone will fill the gap. And this is why you see that in the United States, there is heavy investment on this kind of technologies, because we know we are already in a race, and it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. We're already in a race that someone in less than a decade will win.
Yeah, thanks for that. And just like turning more to the kind of our own society or here in Greece, obviously there will be people who basically are figuring now that they've been left behind. And what do we do? Yes,
Sorry,
John.
you're talking about inequalities in Africa, let's say, for example, and you're talking about disadvantages of the technology, but you're not talking about opportunities. So, as example, Africa, if there was no technology, half of the Africans would be unbanked. Because in Africa, you cannot find, let's say, from our perspective, a branch of banking that people can go there and do their daily jobs. Technology has helped them through the mobile phones to have a banking account and use it. So, yes, on the one hand, you have the disadvantages, but on the other hand, you have more opportunities that are being created. So I would say that the opportunities are more than any kind of disadvantage or inequality.
Thanks.
I think, if I may add on that, I think that the educational system is important to play a role to smooth out these inequalities. Technology always creates inequalities. Some people are left out because they are not current. So the education is the way to move forward. In this particular case with artificial intelligence, the question is not against the machine. The machine is much faster, much more efficient than we are. The question is how we can make it complementary with us. Artificial intelligence thinks. People think critically. Big difference. Artificial intelligence processes things. We have judgment. That the machine cannot have judgment. That's another important element of the human being. Artificial intelligence creates things, but we are creative. Humans, we are creative. And creativity is cannot be easily algorithmized or whatever. You can put an algorithm behind it, right? Because creativity depends on serendipity, the unexpected. And that is very important. So what I'm saying here is that education, if we transform the education system so that to support the people in developing these attitudes and these skills and competencies, then the humankind becomes complementary with the machine. The machine does what it does extremely well, and there is no chance we can beat the machine on that way. And then on our end, we complement and we take other things that the machine cannot do.
Thanks. All very important points, Annie.
If I may build on your comment, and thank you for that. We as an industry see a lot of young people, and we specialize in technology, and we see that younger generations build up and absorb technology so faster than other ones, and they are capacitated to cope with new things. What we see happening is that AI and technology will increase the levels of capacity for the mass, and we will have to carefully select on the skills and the very skillful people to direct and lead technology to do better things. And that's the very, very critical thing to choose from.
Well, thank you.
If I may, one last point.
Tiny, because we have to wrap up.
One last point that I fully agree with the professor here. He said that today it's artificial intelligence, tomorrow can be something else. So let's not just frame artificial intelligence, let's call it technology in general and invest in technology, education in technology. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, well, we have come to the end of this session, so please join me in thanking our panel. Thanks all of you very much.